Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm your host, Sophie Bidar, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections, together with Christel Hughes, founder of Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts. Graceful Connections is an adventure of exploration, discovery, healing, liberation, growth, and truthful expression, which is facilitated, amplified, magnified, and blessed really with grace. As graceful connections are woven between you and our expert speakers, your graceful guides into creating heaven on earth. Every time you join Graceful Connections, not only are you held in the orb of grace and infused with grace, but also you claim your willingness to create heaven on earth. And indeed, all it takes is your willingness from a pure heart and with pure intentions. And as your willingness is affirmed, it echoes throughout the universe, and your intentions are strengthened and answered with clarity, inspiration, empowerment, activation. All that you need to make it real, to make it true, to make it truth. Yes, in highest service to the divine and highest good of all. And if at any moment a voice within you asks, who am I to create heaven on earth? Let grace answer and remind you that you are a child of the divine. And creating heaven on earth can naturally be your daily joy. So thank you for being with us and bringing your unique vibration, colors, and energetic imprint, without which the world would be missing. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and for your willingness to create heaven on earth. So let's begin. I invite you to relax and take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Let's bring all your attention, all your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flow serve our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. You can decide to open your heart or open it even more and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind or open it even more and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth, and your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe, so that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You can relax. You are ready and open to receive. Now I'm calling the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and placing the orb of grace around our group, our gathering, each and every one of us. that we be held in grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the subtle high frequency of grace, allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify, all that needs to be so, in purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now, within the Orb of Grace, I'm delighted to welcome our expert speakers. Today, we are double blessed with an expert duo, Christel Hughes and Sara Cornell. Christel, welcome home to Graceful Connections. This is truly your home as a co-creator of this online series. And Sara, welcome again. You've been with us on the first edition. It's so wonderful to host the two of you together. Welcome.
This is so magical, isn't it, Sarah? Yay!
Yes, yes, this is so magical. Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
And hello, everybody. So glad to be here. So glad to feel your divine essence flowing through this little portal of grace right now. And Sophie, thank you for blessing us with your presence and your light and your passion, which we can all feel behind your heart coming through. When you just said the word grace and attuning to grace, it was like an actual adjustment and attunement right here. So thank you so much for all that you do and all that you bring, and just this glowing, bright, warm, loving light that you share upon us and shine upon us. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us in the Orb of Grace. It's really a delight to gather together, right, in this cozy Orb of Grace. Now, I was wondering, do I even need to introduce Christel? But maybe for some of you who are new to this community, welcome to all of you. Let me share a little bit about Christel. Christel Hughes is a multidimensional visionary, medium, and multisensory energetic intuitive, specializing in energetic healing and rapid transformation. And we are always in awe because of her lightning fast and laser focused intuitive readings that go directly to the core of the issue. She pinpoints it immediately. The Academy for the Soul was born through Christel as the online school for intuitive arts, helping people discover and develop their intuitive gifts, and then share those gifts with the world as an offering. Christel's work has broadened to include connecting with Archangel Metatron and mediating Metatron's cube to instantly shift a person's consciousness, undoing mental, emotional, and physical limitations, as well as opening up their higher channels of communication. And I'd like to bounce on this and ask you, Christel, how did you come to encounter and connect with Archangel Metatron and Metatron's cube?
Oh, yes. It was very unexpected, actually. I had created a program that was about doing a virtual vision quest. And in the vision quest, as you know, you usually isolate yourself for a period of time. And in this particular one, there was hundreds of us across the globe. And at the exact time, we were going to start our vision quest and actually be in a circle where we couldn't have any contact to the outside world. And fortunately, I have this beautiful fireplace, so I actually got my fire going, and I had my little meditation chair that I was sitting in, and it was probably around the 1 to 2 a.m. Time period. I had been up, and then I could start to feel the energy. And when I start to feel energy being channeled through me, my back actually stiffens, and I get drawn back, and my chin gets brought up. So I'm this more clear, strong channel. And what happened was suddenly I got this feeling, this beautiful vibrational, almost like a earthquake, if you will, within me and in that sacred circle that I had created for the vision quest. And suddenly I was seeing with my eyes open and with my eyes closed, it didn't matter either way, this vibrational, pulsating, energetic being that showed up as Metatron's cube. When it came in, it just came in really fast. And it was shocking at first, but the warmth and the glow of that vibration had such depth and meaning that it was stirring something really deep inside of me. Now, I immediately grabbed my journal and started drawing because it was as if they were channeling through me and, automatic writing, but this wasn't writing. It was graphs and arcs and all of these ways in which I was being let in on secrets of how to hold people's energy frequencies to up-level them to this multidimensional experience. Now, at that time, I don't know how many years ago this was, but quite a few years ago, we were just coming into this new word called ascension. So at that time, that was when I knew that that was an ascension attunement that was happening to me. Since then, Metatron's cube and Archangel Metatron have really inspired almost an unlocking of a combination within me to the point where now I'm the embodiment of Metatron's cube. I recognize that, and that there's a lot of magic of creation that I've been let in on. And that's why I'm here today, because I'm going to share that with all of you as much as I can, and the understanding and really the depth of the knowledge of the magic behind Metatron's cube.
Wow. When you do vision quest, you don't do half a vision quest, right? You do the real thing, just like you do everything, we could say. But I must say that was quite a vision quest. And yeah,
Yes.
wow, amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us, Christel, setting the ground for our time together. Now, let's discover Sara. Sara Cornell is passionate about helping you heal and embody your soul truth. She's committed to aiding you in the dissolution of blockages in your body to activate cosmic soul truth for your increased internal harmony and connection. With the guidance of her ancestor, Sara is the creator of Celestial Soul Reiki and acts as a master truth activator. But it hasn't always been like this for Sara. It's been quite a journey of deep healing and transformation for you to activate your own soul truth. So would you share the highlights of your own journey with us, Sara, please?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. And thank you for that warm welcome, Sophie. Oh, so for me, before I found Christel, I had gone through quite a bit of healthcare, traumas, cancer, lots of different healthcare issues. And my very first experience with Metatron's Cube was with a session with Christel. And when she says it's lightning fast, like it is so quick to transform whatever is presenting. It is so magical. I felt like so much in my aura and opening, and I had quite a huge activation of ascension after that very first session even. And I had gone through the remote Metatronic healing as well several times, and found that also just, different lingering health concerns clearing up, different like mental patterns and paradigms and emotions that had been stuck for so long, moving through so beautifully and easily. And of course, the opening of my own spiritual gifts and my own truth. And I've had multiple sessions with Christel. Each one is transformative and so beautiful and exactly what is needed in that moment. And when I originally started working with my ancestor and channeling through, well, that was quite a process before connecting with that ancestor and then bringing through celestial soul Reiki with the help of you two. Of course, it was actually the night after my interview, Sophie, with you last time. I was just sitting outside, and all of a sudden, Metatron's cube just came in, and I could see it in my third eye just spinning. And I could see the way that this celestial soul Reiki energy was dancing and just vibrating with Metatron's cube. And I have chills right now. It was just so powerful and so magical. And I remember I had to leave Christel a message. I'm like, you won't believe what just happened. And it was so cool. And since then, it's just been more and more of like a connection with Archangel Metatron. And it's been really beautiful. Even just like how Christel described, really embodying the cube and the energies, the platonic solids, and meditating with the different ones and playing with them in my field with the Reiki, and specifically with the celestial soul Reiki. It's like since June, when I first had that interview with you, Sophie, it's been wow, like such a huge opening. you know it's just really been beautiful and magical, and I'm really excited. I'm so excited for today to bring this forward. I know this is going to be so transformative for each and every one of you. So
Wow, that's really also a very amazing story. And we can say for you, Sara, that when you do graceful connections, you really do. You don't do half graceful connections.
nope.
You do graceful connections, and it leads you to graceful connections with Archangel Metatron and Metatron's cube. And next thing we know, we're gathered together, all the three of us. So that's really, really wonderful and very special. This is such a special moment. It is very special to me, to my heart, and I'm sure to everyone with us today. So let's dive into our topic, gaining altitude with Metatron's cube. That's really intriguing. And I'd like to begin with asking you, what do you mean by gaining altitude? And what's the importance of this in those current times and for our intuitive capacity?
Yes, so this whole idea of gaining altitude, I think, is actually a conscious soul vibrational experience that serves the collective. It serves all of us, and it's been being introduced for quite a long time for our souls to evolve and to ascend. And so we take it very literally. As the experience has been in which like spiritual information and knowledge, right, has come to the forefront, we can talk about it openly now. But taking that literally to want to go up, to want to connect up and outside of us, as if everything that we need to know is truly out there. That feeling of gaining altitude is a nudge, but we have to watch out, because if we feel that that is something out there outside of us and literally up there, then we start to kind of flail around with drawing the energies in and truly experiencing them within us and on this planet. And so we see a huge disconnection happening through trying to connect. The disconnection is the reaching outside of oneself, the reaching to connect and channel their guides, reaching to connect to the stars and the stellar systems, and reaching to connect with the cosmic beings. Any of those beings that are extra, right? Extraterrestrial, but also even the beings that we see here that are more closely related to the earth plane. And so there's this feeling where we're drawn up, we're reaching out, but that creates a bigger disconnect, which creates a feeling of loss. It creates a feeling of grief. It creates a feeling of sorrow. And not only are we then with society feeling that disconnect, almost like, oh, I don't want to be around those people anymore because I'm on a spiritual mission going to the stars, you know. And that's a real thing, but it creates a deeper experience of isolation internally. And then the idea of also, you know, who am I? Who am I? What is my purpose? And how do I achieve that with this feeling of disconnect while reaching for something? Now, it's vitally important for us to be strong and healthy within our bodies as we are being a divine conduit and as we are being a divine channel. And so I'm on a little mission here. I'm on a mission. And that mission is because I've recognized that if someone does not correctly create a vital, strong channel, and they are reaching and they are tapping in and they are channeling something, someone, but they don't know how to determine the vibrational frequency, they're not accurate with translating and feeling into a vibrational pulsation of the who they are channeling, of the what they are channeling, it can get really scary. Not only can we have health issues that arise because of that, we can actually have beings attach. So we know that we're being called to being a greater channel. We want to have everyone experience that in a very healthy way, in a very conscious way, so they know what they're doing, they know who they're connecting with, and they know the how to do that. And saying that, that brings someone to gain that altitude. And now what we see, just coming full circle with that thought, is there's a distinction in organically building that channel, naturally utilizing and really leveraging our personal cycles of our chart, our incarnation chart. But we then aren't so focused on ascension, which is the spiritual progression, so much as really going to an elevated state now. An elevated state, elevation was shown to me by Metatron's cube as the way that we can tap in and utilize Metatron's cube to make a quantum dimensional leap, but do it in a very healthy way. So ascension is more about spiritual development, whereas we see that elevating our consciousness and elevating our channel is allowing us to go multidimensional in a way where we are tapping into the secrets and we are exploring the communication, connection, relationships that we have with those beings that are not human. And that includes animals, and it includes elementals, and all the variety of beings that that we are getting to know and that we have come to be introduced to so far.
Yeah, wow. You know, a couple things that are coming to my attention as I listen to you. One is that it seems to me, well, the first I had an image that we can't just shoot to the stars, as seducing and attracting as it sounds, and we have that in our heart, but we can't just do that in a almost not improvised way, but just from our pure heart's desire, because how we do it, there's a method to do it in order to bring two major elements from what I hear from you: the truth, to bring truth, and to bring and to make it in a healthy way, right? It seems to me that these are two major aspects that we need to pay attention to, obviously. The other thing that I caught while hearing you is, it seems to me that this elevated state, it's like a degree of maturity. It's like we're entering a maturation phase. Does that qualify? How does that sound to you, Christel?
It has a feeling tone within me of that. You know, coming into a vibrational experience, and this is part of, again, what we're all being called to. Think of it like a soul archetypal vibration that flows through all of humanity. And if we think about and consider, who are we as the elevated being? What archetype do we take on? I know for me personally, as my personal journey, I'm coming into High Priestess. Now, I don't say that as just like flippantly, like throwing it around. I think a lot of people, they might take a course and say, okay, now I'm High Priestess. That's not what I'm referring to. I think that there's a natural, organic, and evolution of the stages in which we can gain that access of that soul archetypal frequency to allow it to embody us. And I think that within the last few years has actually been my trajectory. So the elevated state for me would be an embodiment of the stellar channel as a high priestess. And everything in my world within those last few years of cycling into that has been very synchronistic, has brought that energy back in, you know. And just recently, as we were doing an academy gathering in Joshua Tree, like imagine being in the desert and being in this hammock and suddenly imagining, like my eyes were closed and I was in a kind of an in-between state, and seeing this coiled snake come up and start to devour me. And in that feeling of being devoured, it's a very familiar feeling because of Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube has the power to discreate, so it will deconstruct. Can I handle that in that moment with the snake coming, the jaws opening, and feeling this experience of being devoured? And in that moment of being able to say, whoa, it's okay for my body and my mind to deconstruct in this moment, because I trust, because I have that faith, because I have played in the oneness, allness, nothingness. And when things go into deconstruction mode, they're getting back to neutrality. And in that moment, as that snake came and devoured me, it ignited vibrational frequencies in and through, like a Kundalini type of experience. And suddenly I could see the channel that had actually been grown, if you will. And it brought me up to my Pleiadian sisters, and seeing the thrones that were there and how I sat. It was a beautiful crystal platform and all these crystalline thrones. And I was probably about maybe 11 or 12 feet tall as a crystal Pleiadian being, as a priestess. And I was sitting, suddenly I was up, but I was sitting with everyone. And then one of the high priestesses brought me over to the edge of the platform. And I went with her, and she had me looking down on the planet and saying, remember why you chose to take the wisdom down there, right? To be a carrier, to bring that information, bring that wisdom, bring that grace down there. And in that moment, it was as if my greater purpose was flowing through me as a deep knowing, and there was no more question, almost as if my legacy had been fulfilled And yet they showed me, as I came back down, this next contribution in this next phase, which is what we're doing here today, and the importance of helping each one become elevated, that it is growing into. It is a level of maturity, Sophie, because we have to be responsible for our energy, for our consciousness, for our choices. And so many people, they jump here, they jump there, they take a course over here, they take a weekend workshop and get a certificate there. They have labels. They take that and they think that that is growing and evolving. That is gathering information. It's gathering more and more. It's consumption. But we're talking about here an embodiment state of being. And that's where that truth comes in, where we have to be anchored in that truth. And that's why Sara was the one that actually the divine chose for us to work together, because of her profound capacity to anchor in the truth algorithm, in that it's a no nonsense, literally, state of being, where my being of truth and my commitment to truth, in scanning truth and becoming truth and living truth, that is who Sara is for us in our community. And so you can imagine having that energy of that pure-heartedness with the wisdom that is embedded in her being as one who can really attune someone to that truth algorithm. That helps to anchor that person in their body. And Sara, I know that you've gone through experiences where it's been very difficult to anchor, but I believe that it's because that's part of your greater mission to bring to the world, to learn how to do that.
Absolutely. That feels very true to me. And I definitely can relate to that, trying to go up and out of the body and reaching. Because sometimes, especially if we've had trauma, it can feel not safe to be in the body, right? And so it really has been quite a process to learn how to, okay, anchoring the magic is in the body. It's all in the heart space, right? We can connect to infinite healing, all of our guides, our higher self, infinite connections, all of our star codes right in our heart space. And I was really shown as I did the celestial soul Reiki when I ran it through the first time, how important it is to build that heart space, to access the heart space, to clear out the heart space, because that's where everything that we all want, that connection, our truth, our guides, the channeling, all of that is right in the heart. And yeah, it's so amazing when you can really feel anchored in the body. And to me, that's what the embodiment is. It's like letting go of everything that we're not. And I know for myself, I was holding a lot of codes that is not my truth. And so releasing that and bringing in the truth, it makes such a difference. Then all of a sudden, everything starts flowing. Your health, your, financial situation, your ability to connect and channel. It's all right there. And it's just so profound when we're able to anchor in our truth of who we are, instead of all the inversions and the illusions and the programming and the paradigms, and yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. And it is so needed. I so appreciate the clarity that the two of you are bringing to all of this. One thing I'm wondering, Christel, if you would give some maybe specific example of what can happen. I love how you brought the need for organic evolution. And what I was being shown, as you said, that is like when a teenager is in the phase of, you know, going through puberty and growing up, and the body is transforming and all that, you can't accelerate it, right? The body will take the time it takes, and the whole being will take the time it takes to mature. So, and that's an organic process. So the same with this organic evolution. What can happen if we rush it too much? As you said, if we go here and there, take all these courses, how can it? How does it, or may it translate? Can it translate for the individual?
It's a false sense of like trust and confidence. You've heard people say before, oh, I thought I already healed that. And what I see is that there is a surface and slightly below the surface where one can go to transform something, but they don't know how far deep they've gone. What if you could know how far deep you went? What if you could know, is that the actual root? And not just the root, but the tap root, you know, that you're pulling up, so that you're taking with it. I think there's a level of training that needs to happen for a person to start to recognize and understand how to manage their own energy. So many times we've seen where we would have maybe some kind of healer that claims that they're going to heal us, that they're going to do something for us. And I've seen and noticed people getting addicted to that healer, or getting enmeshed, giving their power over to a healer, expecting the healer is going to heal them. And that is not the work that we do. The work that we do is to train the person how to become dependent on themselves. So independent with the divine. And that is huge, because it will stunt the growth of their channel and also start to reverse that energy. We have two ways that we can bring information through a channel. And one is to receive that energy and to transmit that energy after we've received it. And sometimes what I see is not only is the person not receiving it fully into the heart space, it lives more out here, which is the realm of the mind. And so we're not seeing them have the ownership of that. The authenticity is not there. It's going to cause questioning, depending on the person's ego stance. You know, they could think that they are channeling truth, and it's not truth. So we do have to be very cautious, and we have to train a person to really feel into that, and to start to look at the apparatuses they have as the receiver. Who are they as a receiver? As the transmitter, who are they as the transmitter? And to live according to their energetic constitution and makeup. So these are some of the foundational things that we believe. Also, the issue could be that, yes, they could attract some sort of entity. They could be channeling what they think is a guide, and they are putting too much power in the hands of the guide and claiming that their guide told them something. Well, guides are not there to tell you what choices to make. Guides are there because they have their specialty in their area. Maybe they're a specialist in relationship. And if you call forth a certain guide at a certain time that's a specialist in relationship, it's because in your overall chart, that is the time for you to focus in on increasing the value of your relationships, overcoming the patterns that you have in relationship. They're there to support you coming into the awareness of yourself. But it's not that that guide is more evolved than you, just because it's living in a different dimensional frequency and realm. So we have to come into a greater level of confidence and trust. And Metatron's cube can help us do that, because Metatron's cube is an intelligent being. It is a conscious being. And so when we start to engage with Metatron's cube, and we have the companion, you know, Archangel Metatron, we start to get into a beautiful dance and relationship, and a feeling of being protected, of being held, of being guided. And Archangel Metatron is really an archangel of the future, in that it's a multi-dimensional but also multi-directional being, and that it's existed from the beginning of time, as well as the divine has given over a certain degree of consciousness and awareness, and the capacity for it to access any information that it needs at any time. And so we have certain propensities. We actually come in, and Archangel Metatron knows us, and has known us, and always has known that moment where we were a little drop of the ocean, and when we became our own drop of the ocean of consciousness. And also those propensities tell a future tendency. And so Archangel Metatron holds the memories of us, if you will, and also helps us engage with our own memories, and utilizes Metatron's cube as this vibrational being to help us deconstruct the memories. So it's really important for us, because we are held on this planet and held into a limited way of thinking, considering our interconnectedness, because of form that we see through our eyes. And a lot of that is from memory. And so when we see that memory plays a huge role, we even talk about our memory bank, right? We talk about, we have, oh, you know, this memory we can't get rid of. Memories are very influential, but not just in our personal daily experience, where we remember what someone said to us, or we remember a traumatic experience. We have celestial memories. We have memories of past lives. We have memories that are being created in parallel lives right now. Memory puts form to things. Memory creates attachment and aversion. And so when we start to get into how we can utilize Metatron's cube, we can actually start to see through different eyes, if you will, and see beyond memory, because we have the power to discreate form and memory. And instead, we want to be able to access celestially. We want to access the subtle vibrations. We want to see beyond the form. We want to see beyond the veil. We want to see the magic of creation behind what we see here, right? And all of creation.
Yeah, wow. That's a big chunk. And one thing I'm perceiving, so as you talk about memory, well, my attention goes very quickly to the emotional side of it, because that's what I very much relate to and what I do most work about. But I'm also being sure, so how we relate emotionally to this memory, right? And is this or that memory emotionally loaded in a way that burdens us and pulls us down or lifts us up? So there's that aspect for sure, but it's not only about the emotional aspect of memory, right? There are other aspects of memory that are involved there in what you're talking about, Christel. Is that correct?
Memory is implanted, if you will, in a seed. And so when we look at how we interconnect in this world, we know that if we plant a seed for a tree, then that specific tree is going to grow, right? Now, we have a karmic seed if you will. Our karmic seed holds our karmic memory. The beauty of this is that it holds the memory of what we have achieved, levels of awareness from past lives. We can even go back to the positive memory, let's say, of the pure consciousness of being birthed by the divine. So we have this memory in the seed. Everything has memory attached to it in this world. And we are able to navigate that memory a bit, but it really is valuable knowledge and information. It's grace coming to us when we can understand how to shift that memory of the karmic seed, right? So if I have memory that is from, let's say, in this seed, this incarnation, and literally the seed of my being, of Christel Hughes that came in through my mother and father, there's genealogical memory in the seed. And again, talking about the propensity. Now I can believe that, I can change that, I can shift it. I have the power to. Why? Because I've been let in on how to do it. And you can imagine how much grace that is bestowed upon us. We have the power to shift things and change our minds to a certain degree, don't we? But we find, and for me as a trained clinical hypnotherapist, I would actively place people into trance states and support them shifting their mind, changing their mind, overcoming horrible traumas, but also overcoming any kind of phobias, fears, fear of heights, fear of speaking, all of those things, even accessing the subconscious seed, if you will, that was planted that had to do with some kind of physiological issue and disorder, and shifting that, discreating, breaking down form to bring it to neutrality so that we can then utilize Metatron's cube to create again. And so as we see in spirituality, what we know is there are these phases, and we can see that there's transformation, right? In transformation, we have to discreate something. We have to transmute something. We have to take something that was in one form, and we have to bring it down, distill it down, extract the goodness out of that, and then we preserve that energy to a certain degree through our willingness, our desire, and create. And so we create, we preserve that creation until it's time to discreate that. And then here we go again, right? And so Metatron's cube, it literally is the essence of that process. And Metatron's cube is a pulsating vibrational frequency that, as you can see, comes into form and goes out of form, and comes into form and goes out of form. And when it comes into form, it is platonic solid form. It's a shape. That's a form, right? It takes form. But it can easily merge into that nothingness when it needs to gather the elements in order to bring something into creation or discreation. And so that's where, when we were talking with Sara earlier, where she said she has become so intimate. Part of that journey with Metatron's cube is really coming into a certain specific degree of intimacy so that you can wield that and you can utilize it for this whole process of creation, discreation. It could also be labeled manifestation, right? I want to manifest something other, something different, something new. And so that's really how we're utilizing Metatron's cube, so that we are in harmony, we are in balance with the natural order, and organically growing and expanding and creating this beautiful celestial and stellar channel.
Celestial and stellar channel. Yes, that's what we want. Wow. Built in an organic way, healthy, truthful. That's what we want, not just shooting to the stars like this.
Yes.
Again, you know, some like want to rush, right? But we need to have this degree now of maturity and to, I hear the word impeccability. I think there's a demand that is given to us to be impeccable with how we walk our journey of evolution, of ascension, of elevation, as you coined it, we could say. There's a demand for impeccability. We can't just keep going, you know, in a messy, improvised way just because we want it in our heart, right? So I think this degree of impeccability is really demanded. How does that sound to you?
You've been in my world a long time, Sophie. The degree of integrity matters. And that comes along with our masculine and feminine energies as well, and how well we mature our masculine so that he is honorable and he's capable and he is determined to stand in that level of integrity and truth no matter what, not even if our lower level feminine tries to lure him away. He stands at attention and he stands strong and he's diligent and he is committed. And that is who we are. I mean, you don't come into the world of Academy for the Soul or this world here in Graceful Connections without a degree of integrity. And it's out of any human's mind control. That's why we scan and we utilize a specific method for channeling truth. And all of us have taken that oath of only living truth and really counting on that vibrational scan of truth. And I think you touched on something there, Sophie, where being impeccable, being in integrity, standing to live truth for others, we're not then tainted. The memory is tainted to a certain degree because even if we remember something happening, it's not accurate. And so we are in battle a lot of times because we are attached to our memories. We think that holding on to the memory, maybe of the pain of a past relationship, is going to prevent us from reliving that. We put a lot of value into memory and in holding those and accumulating those. And also we count on memories for happiness. And we have to instead shift that as we release the tainted experience of memory from our mind. And we clean it up, if you will, and we start to clean out the memory bank. It's not that, oh my God, I can't remember that. It's not, oh my God, that was stolen from me. What we do is we take the vibrational lesson, we take the blessing from that. It doesn't mean that you can't carry the imagery with it as well. But what we start to see is that we become the holy witness. We become this witness observer. And if we can, it's one of the main qualities that you need as a practitioner, that you need as an instrument of the divine. You must be able to stand in a neutral position and not get engaged, hooked into the story of a client, pulled in, dragged in, feeling that you have to rescue, that you have to save. It's so vitally important to take a stance and have a healthy stance as the holy witness, as the witness observer. And this is part of what we're going to actually be doing in this program. That's one of the elements, is that you are going to be able to really strengthen your witness observer to the energy even coming through your own channels. And the energy as witness observer has certain indications. It has certain truths that need to be heard. And part of what we see is that a lot of times people think, ooh, it's so important for me to be able to have these fun, exciting spiritual gifts. I want to know what mine are. But it's much more meaningful to be able to be a witness observer to your own constitution to such a degree that you recognize the vibration of that truth and the meaning of the light that comes out of that channeling, so that you can accurately translate that into a meaningful experience or into a pure vibrational frequency, even of something that is highly intelligent like Reiki. You are not tainting with your memory the Reiki energy flowing through you. You are pure. You are a holy witness. And you are learning how to hold yourself in a very secure, specific, strong, integrous way, a stance. And so then you are really in the witness position, observing the gift in that moment and how you can listen. You can listen to support. And again, you're seeing into another dimension. You're seeing beyond the person as a hurt person or a person in pain or as a wounded person. And it's not just words. Oh no, I see my clients as, healthy, whole, and, but are you being the being that can truly take away the memory of the humanness in that moment and lose yourself to the degree that you really are the embodiment of the channel, but the embodiment of the creative power that can discreate, can transmute and transform.
Oof. Can you lose yourself? That's a big question, right? That's a big question, but it needs to be asked. And I thank you for putting it out there for us, putting it in the orb of grace so that we can receive it. It takes courage. It takes tremendous courage. It takes devotion to agree to that, right? So yeah, thank you for bringing each of us to asking ourselves this question and checking within, where do I stand with this? Let's be our own witness observer on this question to begin with today.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right, and do our own review and start making notes. Yes, I would to that extent, but this I wouldn't do.
Right.
I'm okay for this, but being devoured by a snake, oh no, and that's not for me. Christel will do that. But then that's where it leads you, right? So thank you for, you are having, obviously, having this courage and devotion and all that it takes. So that's why you're here to guide us and support us. And I want to bounce on the occasion to ask you to reveal how we know that you and Sara and Archangel Metatron and Metatron's Cube are here to support us in tremendous ways in our elevation. So let's get into discovering what you have created for us in that intention, in that purpose. You've created a wonderful offering, Metatronic Reiki Attunement, and we'd love to hear all about it. For everyone to follow, you can go to gracefulconnections.com/MRA or just scroll down the page to discover the special offer. So would you please reveal what you have created for our audience?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things that I will say, that this is a deep journey. This is not something that, as you could probably feel, there's a degree of intensity behind my words. And that is because I'm truly calling forth, and Sarah and I have agreed on this, we're truly calling forth the people that have that same desire to be committed and to want to do it in a way that is very healthy, and to be able to offer ourselves and offer our purpose and live our purpose work. And we want to do that in a way that truly the person and the people that are involved with us actually gain the most ascension, the most elevation, right? The most altitude. Okay. And so this journey is actually a 6-week journey.
Mhm.
And when we look at that, we think, wow, I mean, what a commitment to ourselves. The beauty of being in this sacred container that we have, where we're learning, we're growing together, where we're expanding, where we can actually feel held and feel loved, while we know we are literally shifting, adjusting, and attuning our vessel, that we are this brilliant vessel for the divine. Now, I'm going to actually be utilizing the sales page today and going through that. I don't want to miss anything. So just to let you guys know that, you know, you are going to be able to follow along with me as I do this. And I'm going to share that part of this journey is really about calling forth the energies and the frequencies within you. And I'm going to start by going over my part in this, which is actually for getting attuned to Metatronic Reiki. And this is done in a holographic way. And so I just need to share a little bit, Sophie, just to have them understand about this idea of holographic, if that's
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. So for me personally, in my evolution and where I have come from with my intuition, I have to share a little bit about how important Reiki is to me. We're looking at Metatronic Reiki. We're looking at Celestial Soul Reiki. Why these different types of Reiki, and why do we believe in Reiki so much? And so many people, I mean, I'm a purist with Reiki. So, you know, for me, there's this sense of, I absolutely adore Reiki because of what it has done in the collective field, but also what it has done for me. If you go back 20 plus years, I came out of a very unhealthy, abusive marriage, and it landed me in a place of questioning. I didn't know who I was, but I was very determined. I was very strong with God, and I was on my knees one day, and I basically said, look, I'm not going to live any other way. So you guys better get on with it and let me know who I am. I was very straightforward. And I was in a place of pain, but also a place of relief. Because I'm sure some of you can relate to that when you're in some kind of traumatic or abusive experience, or even some kind of hardship. Even if there is a loss there, coming out of that is a relief, because there's a level of lightness and a level of freedom. And I was in that place, in that moment of wanting to discover, who am I? I'm free. I can do whatever I want to do. What is it? And there's nothing worse than having heartache because you don't know what your purpose is. You might feel like you're drawn to help people, which I was always a helper. But in my relationships, I was very dysfunctional in that I was the savior, I was the fixer, I was the rescuer. So when, through a series of synchronicities, that I found myself at the Behavioral Science Center, I was starting my training as a clinical hypnotherapist. I was learning about states of trance and states of consciousness. And one of the professors there said, oh, by the way, I am going to be offering Reiki attunement, and I would love for you to join. And I had no idea what that was. I was very much left brain at the time, because, going to get my degree in psychology and all of that. I was really relying on that left brain so much. But when I got attuned to Reiki, and we had to practice placing our hands in certain positions on people's chakras, immediately I had knowings about people. So much so that I could put my hands on someone's chakras and I would know what their relationship was with their sister-in-law. I would know a degree of how much prosperity they had in their lives. I could sense if a person was in any kind of pain or suffering. I could know if their animal companion was suffering. I could know so many things on so many levels, the exact emotion that was there and present within the issue. I was told exactly how to help them navigate that issue. So Reiki is very important to me because from that moment, it opened and unlocked my mediumship gate as well, where I am sitting in one of my classes actually, during that same time in my training for hypnotherapy, my grandfather, who had just passed 2 or 3 months before, came and visited me. And it was a very easy conversation. I knew exactly who it was. It was just so clear and so apparent, and on and on and on, to the point where I could now observe my friends when they were getting attuned to Reiki. I could observe what was happening to their intuitive gateways opening when they were getting attuned. And that's what really caught my attention. That's when I started looking into doing an intuitive assessment, understanding that each person has their own intuitive constitution and that we are not all flowing energy the same way. So if you kind of zoom now to probably about 10 years ago, that's when I started reading holographically. And holographically, literally, it's just like it sounds, that I can see someone as a hologram on a holodeck. I can see every part of their energetic system and structure all at once. I can know if they're in parallel lives. I can see past, present, and future possibility lines and probability lines. I'm saying this because when we are doing this Metatronic Reiki attunement, we are literally doing it holographically. So when we attune you, we're not just attuning your soul on this dimension. We're attuning your soul holographically. That means on every time, space, reality, dimension, in every direction. And so that's important for me to have you know, because when you choose to do it, you're going to know what we're doing, right? And you're going to recognize the transformation on the multiple levels. Okay. So when we look at Metatronic Reiki, I've been doing this. I've literally done it for, last I checked, it actually was over 850 people. I've done a lot of Metatronic Reiki. And Metatronic Reiki is, again, utilizing the power of creation and discreation that we have in Metatron's cube. But as we access the heart of Metatron's cube, we can actually call forth the Reiki rays. We can also put different energy frequencies to support. Metatron's cube is like a laser beam. So it's pulsations of vibrational frequencies that become a collective. And when used together and matched up with Reiki, it becomes a laser beam of light that, again, works holographically. So not just on the cellular structure within your body or your DNA, but actually starts to pay attention to what you have in your karmic seed, if you will, not only for this lifetime, but for future lifetimes. And so I started utilizing Metatronic Reiki. For years and years, I've used it. I've had people who have had chronic back pain of 20 plus years have Metatronic Reiki and be able to easily drive again, because the back pain would cramp them up, and their whole shoulders and everything would go. And literally, this person just said every time I would get in the car and be in traffic, it would cramp up and I would literally have to pull off the side of the road. Not to mention just taking away the pain, but changing the person's life and lifestyle and going deep into the emotionality of someone when someone doesn't feel confident or competent, even with their intuition, utilizing Metatronic Reiki to open that up, to come into places of eternal love within themselves and worthiness, to actually connect them in a cosmic way, to be able to have that level of connection to the multiple dimensions, to the 11D, and access Archangel Metatron's gateway, the 1111 gateway, that really supports us being in accessing the spectrums of light. So there's a specific way, though, that we have to attune you. And there's certain things that I need to work on with you before we can attune you. And it's really important to do that. So when we look at that attunement and what's important prior to and what we're going to do in the session, I have to gather the multiple spectrums of light. And as I work with Metatron's cube to gather these multiple spectrums of light, that which is seen and that which is unseen, we start to bring that energy through a specific cosmic junction that lives inside of you. And I'm not going to tell too much because I don't want us, we can go way down, but in the program, I'm going to explain this, okay? But what we can see is that we need to gather that to increase and amplify the light through your third eye and also a couple of other chakras, in order to be able to tap into what is in the unseen. What is behind the memory, the forms, so that we're not living in a 3D world, that we can go beyond that. And then as you learn this and as it comes through, there's an amplification literally of the beam that comes out of your third eye. Now, I want you to think of that as being able to see in and through structures. I can see through that wall. Right? If you're looking and working with a person, you're going to be able to see way down deep into the density of where that person is holding the trauma in their body, the belief system, and the emotionality of that. That's like glue holding that in place. But you're also going to be able to relate more with this capacity to bring that energy specifically through. You're going to see through the veil of this world and be able to access other worlds, if you will. Okay, now again, it's not going to be sudden. It's going to be subtle. Metatron's cube is subtle. It lives in the ethereal. It lives in the subtle. And it's important for you to be able to have a good channel to even know the subtlety is there. Again, the light is information, giving you the truth of that moment, right? So we're going to start first by emptying your vessel, okay? So there's three main dynamics that really skew this energetic experience and the structures that hold on to time. Again, memory is time related. Metatron's cube works in the timelessness and in the neutrality. So we're going to work on clearing your regrets, what you're ashamed of, and what you're guilty of. So we're increasing the timelessness, right, for non-attachment and non-aversion, which keeps you in this realm. It keeps you locked in, and it is what keeps carrying the karma into the next lifetime. We're also going to, again, do what we call celestial alchemical attunements. this is me utilizing my soul song. I'm starting to work in the transpersonal chakras because what we see is Metatron's cube really loves to work with someone who doesn't just use the 7 main chakras, that who has been already trying to access through the other transpersonal chakras, but also build out their light body. So if you've been working to build out your light body, if you've been working on the transpersonal chakras, then we're going to start to balance the masculine and feminine. They play a vital role within each chakra. Okay, not your overall masculine and feminine of your consciousness. I'm talking about the masculine and feminine balance within each of your chakras. So we're going to clear, adjust, and attune those. We're going to work on the memory bank. We're going to work on you becoming the embodiment of the Holy Witness, which we talked a little bit about, seeing without memory and seeing dimensionally and being able to hold people and honor them and really respect the process that's happening as you are not the one doing the healing, which is so refreshing. And then I'm going to do some secret things as you get your Metatronic Reiki attunement. So again, I don't want to share certain things because it's just like when you get attuned to Reiki level 1, there's certain things that you're going to know and other things that are experiential, right? But what we do know is every Metatronic Reiki treatment, it really is a treatment for you, for your soul, and for the client that you have. Now, you could utilize this on yourself, and this is level 1. So it is about attuning you and making sure that you have that energy for your own self. This isn't attuning you for doing that, but some of you are Reiki practitioners. As you attune to Metatronic Reiki, again, you're going to start to have a very strong celestial container and channel. And suddenly you're going to feel that energy coming through. And as you are witness observer, even while you're doing Reiki, you're going to start to feel that your level of efficiency is coming up, and it's going to feel very empowered for you and also for your clients. Okay. Now to begin, we're going to do, and you can see there, the holographic mystic intuition primer. We do have to prime you for Metatron's cube. Some of you fortunately have done the Metatronic Reiki, others haven't. But it's okay if you haven't. If you have, you already have a feeling of Metatron's cube and what that's like. But we really need to go in and work with the elements and prime you. So we're going to have you do that prior to the session. Okay, so don't worry. We're going to take care of you. We're going to take really good care of you. Such good care of you. Also, we all chatted about this. Because it's not just myself and Sarah that are a part of this beautiful Metatronic Reiki attunement level 1. Carrie Kaisik is also a part of this. And I really rely on Carrie's insight, on her deep intuition, because she is so vitally connected at her heart and brings a heart presence and wisdom and grace. And she also works in the celestial realms with beings, the Aurora Borealis, which is a light being like none other. And we've had many ahas with the power of those, and the guardians of the dimension. So when I say we, I'm including her as well. And as we were chatting and going through this, and we also recognize how important it is that every time that you are activating Metatronic Reiki within your being, that you know the process of really flipping on that switch and igniting that specific vibrational frequency and the power behind it. So I'm actually going to be creating that for you to be able to have that. So you can listen to that and you can reignite that energy and bring it online, if you will, as you do that Metatronic Reiki for yourself. Now, that is the actual Metatronic Reiki attunement. Now I'm going to hand it over to Sara, because the beginning of that, before you can get your attunement, we need to have you go through some things. And the lovely Sara and Carrie have created this capacity to allow you to open up and to really come into the truth of your soul. So Sara, would you like to share a little bit about that, that series?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Carrie and I are going to be bringing through 3 live calls, and we're going to do this on Zoom so we can see each other and connect. And we're going to be using, Carrie's going to have her beautiful crystal bowls, and we're going to be going deep into each of the chakras, and we're going to be really doing a very, very deep clearing, a very deep excavation of all of the inversions that we find held in those chakras. So what are inversions? Basically, an inversion is anything that is an untruth, right? So we're going to be moving all of that out so we can bring and anchor in the light when you actually have your attunement with Christel. And these series of 3 calls, they're going to be extremely transformative in themselves. We're really going to be going deep. We're going to be clearing contracts, cords, you know, as we go into the sacral, all the shame that is held there, all the inversions that are held there, and the solar, all the places in the contracts where you've given your power away to other people, to other beings, not just in this life, but of course, past life and genealogical. And we're really going to be pulling out, removing, clearing, healing the DNA, the structures, and then we'll be bringing in light to replace that. And that's going to really prime your cells, prime your DNA, and prime your body for the deep transformation that's going to occur when Metatron's cube is activated into your aura. So that's what we're bringing through. It's going to be, like I said, very deep, very transformative, and then we're also going to be creating an integration MP3 to listen to after your attunement. And this MP3 will assist with really just anchoring that light in and to help move out the energetic debris, because of course, when you have your attunement, you can go through a bit of a detox process. So we just really want to keep the light moving, keep everything anchored in. And yeah, that's what we're going to be bringing through. It's going to be a deep 3-week journey, and we're really excited.
Yay! I'm excited about it. Like, can I do it?
Of course you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So one important thing, and Sophie, when we were putting this together, we knew that we wanted to really engage with people. There's a lot that can be said and spoken, and it's another level when we actually commune. And so I thought that that was really special with Sara and Carrie being on those Zoom calls. Whether someone is going to be able to be there live while this is happening or revisit that, this is a portal that one is going to be able to move through, if you will, to be in that container. And as we have Sara guiding and leading through the inversions, Carrie is going to be bringing the next level of that sound by utilizing certain and specific crystal bowls, and certain ones that actually have been geared for working with Metatron's cube. So really profound the way that we've all come together and really brought our special gift assignments and allowing the person to feel this in an experiential way. So I just want to say a couple things about the inversion, because I find it fascinating that for many years I have been talking about inversions to myself. I have been getting downloads about inversions to myself and written them down and journaled about them, and starting to see energy and how energy of untruth can flip you right upside down. When something that is untruth hits your body, you have a visceral reaction, and that untruth creates an inverted kind of energetic stance. So it throws you off. And this is part of what Sara was referring to, and that especially because her special gift assignment has to do with truth, she really feels in and recognizes those inversions in a person's body. Now, recently, I started looking into, again, what is happening here with people not being able to ground into their body. And that's where I started observing at that point of birth, where people were being inverted almost instantly at birth. Their root chakra was tethered back, and they were reaching for the divine or the celestial where they came from, and actually tethering themselves in an inverted way. So literally their celestial body would invert. So part of what I'm doing with this is supporting one in releasing the inversions, not just in that root, but Sara and Carrie are going to be doing the clearing in those other chakras that might have a tether, that might be causing the celestial body to go sideways, or to be at an angle, to be up and out of a person's aura, or to not allow, again, the energy to come all the way back in, to be in a healthy aura with boundaries. Okay. And so again, this is going to be working on the sacral chakra all the way up to the crown, and really serving to clear the inversions all the way up. Okay. Should I keep going?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, I just want to comment on one thing.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
little comment on the way is that, as you were mentioning, Christel, that this portal that is created with this through these 3 weeks with Carrie and Sara, I was being shown how well this portal is not a one shot, but it is something that we can be called to return to. I'm being shown like a Taurus, I think is the name of the shape, right? And how we can be called back to return to this portal and to go through this portal again and again and again. And it shows me how this greatly contributes to the organic evolution and the organic development of our own system, I would guess, right? And I really love that, because the visual is being shown to me of this Taurus-like return through the portal, and return again and again, and keep growing and build in such a way that is so healthy and pure and in truth, because of this organic development. So I love this. I love this.
What we're doing is we're utilizing the 1111 gateway, and the 1111 gateway is the portal. The 1111 gateway, if you look at that, the 11 and the 11, these are pillars, and these are pillars of light. And in between those, we have that gate that opens. So anything that we do in this program, and any session we do, we're going to go to that 1111 gateway. Now, the importance of that as well is when we move through it, it's kind of like this zoom, like we're like taken through an energetic grid, if you will, that is a natural grid of transmutation, the golden grid of grace that is pre-programmed. And we can use that grid to amplify again, which is part of what we're going to do in the attunement. But we can also use that grid to zap energies and frequencies. So what you're saying is, as we move through the 1111 gateway, anytime we move through that you're taken by one of us, what happens is that there's an instant transmutation, up leveling, increasing the torus field. Also, it is meant for us to learn and grow there, and then to turn back around and to support people coming through. So there'll be more people that are going to come through that are going to actually be able to expand and up level that consciousness. You take some water. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. So those 3 weeks are going to be the beginning, if you will, of the journey. And after we go through that journey of 3 weeks, we're going to start another 3 weeks, awakening your celestial channel. And that's going to be very deep, intimate time with me on those calls, where we're going in specifically, we're going to be doing integrations. So it's very important that we look at the archetypal frequencies that match and work with Metatron's cube, right? If we're going to be using Metatron's cube, we need to become that which Metatron's cube wants to interact with. It only makes sense. So we start to look at these vibrational frequencies that can be embodied as soul energies, and we're going to upgrade any of the lower level parts, if you will, or personas that are in the way of those 3 archetypal beings. So when we think about archetypes, again, there's a distinction between an archetype and a persona. So an archetypal frequency is a universal soul vibrational frequency that gets channeled down into specific vibrational energies that basically have traits, right? They have certain traits about them. A persona is an individual's aspect that lives within them, that has a certain belief that we've identified and an attached emotion to that belief, right? That keeps them in a habit or keeps them in a pattern, okay? So again, even though we're going to be shifting and doing the integrative soul technology process, which most people would relate to our persona integration process, we are doing it at a universal level, an archetypal level, okay? And we're going to be working on the wizard, the alchemist, and the channel. Now, this is so fun. Now, most people might not, they might not go, oh, I want to be a wizard. But I want to talk to you a little bit about why wizard. Well, the wizard has this deep connection to nature and that which is behind nature. All of the elements, all of the energies and the frequencies of the substances that live and make up nature. So with those main elements, and also being able to communicate with animals, with the tree, with the air, right? With a bird. There is so much power in that. A lot of magic, but also to wield sacred geometry. The wizard, as the archetype, is given permission to utilize the energies and the symbols that are within Metatron's cube, okay? Now, next we go to the alchemist. And the alchemist is all about mastering transmutation, right? Again, taking something from one form, which might be a form that we don't resonate with, we don't like, even if we're in a chronic pain, or if we have some disorder or disease, we really don't want that, right? We almost even have an aversion to that. We don't want to be attached to that condition anymore. An alchemist helps you out of that condition, looks at the solution, but starts to see, ooh, this plus this equals that, right? But they can also look at, ooh, you have this ingredient matched up with that ingredient, and that is what's causing this outcome. What if we take out this ingredient, put in a different one, and now what happens? Harmony, unity, raising consciousness, right? And so the alchemist is very important. And the other thing with the alchemist is that it utilizes a lot of the fire element. So again, it transmutes, but it can also distill. It uses the distillation process as well. So distilling down, taking it down to its purest, most basic form. So we can use that with the DNA shifting that we do. And then the third main archetype is the channel. And when I say channel, I want you guys to think about being a conduit, being a mystic conduit, right? But also it's important when we do work with Metatron's cube that, again, we are more of a mediator rather than the healer. We're more of a caregiver and a caretaker, monitoring the energies and the balance, soothing the soul with our presence. But again, being more witness observer rather than engaging actively. So we have to have that as well, where we can be a pure channel and bring that down. Now, those are 3 different sessions, and that first call of every week that we're going to be doing for the next 3 weeks, that first call is going to be utilizing the IST process. And we are going to be looking at the archetypal frequencies and upgrading those. And then I'm going to, right after that, I'm going to be on there engaging with each person and doing intuitive readings by looking. I need to put you on the holodeck. I need to connect with your higher self, and I need to look clairvoyantly to see specifically how that celestial body is and how well it adjusted. If we need to make micro adjustments, then we're going to make micro adjustments. Once we adjust the archetype, the celestial body is going to want to change and upgrade. I've got to see if we can do that. And right there on that call, we're going to start to adjust. Okay. So that way you can actualize that archetypal frequency and anchor it into this world. Okay, to live it. Now, we also, on the second call of each week, we're going to do a holographic energy lab. And some of you guys have had the experience with being in the energy labs with me, which I absolutely love. We're going to be focusing in looking at your transmitter channel. We're going to look at your receiver channel, and we're going to look at your witness observer. And again, in real time, we are going to be activating the energy of Metatron's cube and bringing in the Reiki energy to heal, upgrade those specific channels and that stance as witness observer. Okay. Now, I realize some of you are transmitters more than receivers, receivers more than transmitters, but we need to have the balance of both of those. So again, I'm going to distinguish just for you, right? Just for you. I'm not looking at somebody else or even myself and going, oh, your channel should look this way. I'm actually in that moment connecting with your own higher self. So I need to see for you, what does your transmitter channel need to be like? For you, what does that receiver channel need to be like? Okay. All right. So we'll also be going through the Sacred Geometry Symmetry series. Again, I need you to go on a journey and to access more of a celestial temple in order to get into the holographic realm, in order to get into that realm of oneness, allness, nothingness. And I need a level of intimacy with each of the sacred shapes. So I'm going to actually be doing it's a 5-part guided journey series where I'm going to be taking you on a magical journey. So you'll be able to now go in and feel the essence, to create your own relationship. Each of the sacred shapes has a magic to them. And so again, I want you to think more about these beings as being a vibrational, subtle frequency, a pulsation, okay, that your body's going to need to interact with. And so we're going to go through that 1111 gateway, go to the 11th dimension, and have you work in the cosmic temple. And so that's with the star tetrahedron, dodecahedron, hexahedron, octahedron, and icosahedron, okay? All right. So also in this is a beautiful experience. If you look there, we're going to have, and we already have started, but you're going to be welcome into our 5th dimensional Reiki school community. This is a virtual platform. I absolutely love it. Do you guys love it already?
Oh,
I know.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
It's clean. It's light.
Yes.
It's pristine. It is precious, like Metatron's cube. I don't know how to explain it. It is so brilliant, and it's freeing actually, because this is a totally different platform than maybe some that you would be used to that are out there. And so what I want to say is you are going to have access to that to engage. That is a place where you can engage with Carrie and Sarah and me and Sophie and ask us questions and go deeper. And there's going to be certain things that are marked just for this group that is in the Metatronic Reiki attunement. So we'll be able to engage and have certain posts that are only seen by you, only engaged by you within this smaller group. Okay. So with that, I encourage you. You know what? So many people go, oh, I always wanted to have a community, and oh, I don't want to connect, and I feel disconnected. I feel all alone. Well, get in there, engage with us. We're there. And don't be afraid, because it is so important for you to get support. You probably don't have the amount of support that you need to evolve and elevate, because you don't have that foundation right there. And so this is a foundation. This is a place where we can all go. When I'm not on, I still feel held by it. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I tap into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love knowing my community is there. So yeah, so that is really precious. That is really beautiful. Very easy to navigate, very easy to get on there. And let me tell you, there's been platforms, that even though I'm supposed to get value from it, it just has not resonated with me. And so I just didn't do it. This brought me out of my shell. I had been in a shell for about 2 years. And this actually was a platform that I said, I can absolutely do this. So I'm really grateful that we have that. Of course, you've got a couple of bonuses there. Mastering the telepathic communication protocols. I mean, I need you to work with your telepathic receptivity and your transmission. So again, you're going to be able to use those. Those are downloadable guided journeys, but they go into very deep trance levels, which are wonderful. So you can continue to really work with those channels throughout the time of this 6 weeks. And I encourage you to do that. So you have those as the bonus there, which I think you'll really appreciate and really love. All right. I hand that over. That is Metatronic Reiki attunement. I think handing it over now to you, Sophie, to guide us. I do want people to know it's very important that if they have not been attuned to Reiki level 1 and 2, that it's okay. You can still sign up, but you need to first sign up for Sarah's Celestial Soul Reiki. And in doing that, you can sign up for hers and Metatronic Reiki attunement. But if you have been attuned to Reiki level 1 and 2, feel free. It doesn't have to be through Sarah's program. It can be at any time. Feel free to go ahead and sign up for the Metatronic Reiki attunement level 1.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to wrap it up for everyone in this package. It's a package of packages, right? So you have option 1, that's all that Christel just presented. That's the Metatronic Reiki attunement with Christel. That's a package in itself. It does include the private session, but as you heard, it's a whole 6 weeks, 6-week journey. So that's option 1. Option 2 is the Celestial Soul Reiki with Sara, if you need to get level 1, level 2, so that you can qualify to get the Metatronic Reiki attunement, or if you want to strengthen your Reiki or get this specific Celestial Soul Reiki with Sara, that's where you go. On the special offer page for Celestial Soul Reiki, you will see that you have the video meetup that we had back then in June, and you will find out all about, much more about Sara, her journey, her brilliant gifts, and what this whole Celestial Soul Reiki is all about, and her package. So that's option 2. You have all the details there. And then you have option 3, which is option 1 plus option 2. So you have both full packages, the full package from Christel and the full package from Sara. If you are totally new to Reiki, or if you have some other Reiki, but you want to get started in this specific journey, then that's where you go with the full option. And this is all brand new, totally exclusive. I'm so happy and appreciative that the exclusivity of it is offered to Graceful Connections. Thank you so much, Christel and Sara and Carrie, for doing that. Everyone, this is very, very generously priced, you will see, and it comes with a 2 payment, even 3 payment options. Now, as I was hearing you describe all this whole journey, Christel, there are 2 comments that I want to make that came to my attention. First, the word impeccability came back to my mind, that this is an impeccable package, an impeccable offering that you have created, that the 3 of you, the 5 of you, the 3 of you with Archangel Metatron and Metatron's Cube. It is an impeccable package. That's how it feels to me, what came to my attention. And it relies on the impeccability of your own beings and of your dedication and commitment and devotion, and you're living in truth and your offering of truth. So I wanted to first comment on this impeccability that seems to come back today. And the other thing, as I was listening to you, Christel, I noticed at some point how I was noticing that I was breathing like a greater amplitude of my breathing. So I asked, okay, what is that? What's going on there? And I realized that I was picking up actually on how our audience is receiving this description of the journey, of the 6 weeks journey, how hearing the description, if only by hearing the description, our beings are picking up on the potential for expansion and this elevation. And maybe for some it is even your conscious beings, for some it is your higher self, for some it is just a part of you that picks up on this. But just by hearing of it, we can sense already the degree of expansion and of growth and evolution that is going to happen through it. And it just I just love it, because it's like you get a taste already of what it can be, what it will be, what's going to happen during this whole journey. So I wanted to comment on this.
Well, you're going to experience even more, because right now I'm going to do a demonstration on you.
Okay, all right, let's do this. I'm all experiences.
Tricky. So actually, I'm going to invite Sara as well, to, if that's okay.
Sure.
And what we're going to do is I want to look into your aura. I want to see the color of it, the textures of it, how healthy your aura is right now, if there's any inversion in the celestial body. And then what we're going to do is we're going to activate the energy of Metatron's cube and Metatronic Reiki. And we're going to, in real time, which is, you guys, what we're going to be doing on those energy labs. In real time, we're going to start to adjust those. Okay, is that okay? So, Sophie, if you could just close your eyes right now. And we're already grounded and connected in. We did that right before the call. But if you would state your full and complete name out loud for us, that would be really great.
Sophie Ghislaine Bidard.
All right. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to tap into your higher self. We're going to call forth Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron, we call upon you now for the purpose of adjusting and making these micro adjustments to Sophie's celestial body and aura. We know the power you hold to ignite the flame of the heart upon uniting with your luminous cube. We receive these sacred symbols into our bodies for full assimilation. And so now, Sophie, we're going to put you on the holodeck, and I'm going to tune in with your higher self. And just opening here to connect in. So as I'm looking at your aura, what I'm seeing is a really beautiful kind of blue-green energy. That's the hue of it. Your aura is about 5 feet around at the top, but then it starts to come out almost to, they're saying, 8 to 10 feet around at the bottom, right? So we see that there's a bit of imbalance there. Why is the upper part closer into your body than the outer part, right? So there is this sense of pressure that's coming in, but also we have to look at what is the pattern, because a 10-foot aura might not be healthy, right? If it's meant to be more balanced. So we're going to check to see here, and then we're going to start to clear. So we just want to know from your higher self then, what is creating this, and is there an inversion? But the celestial body is actually pulled and tugged more from the crown chakra. Okay, Sara, from the crown chakra. So we're going to clear the inversion out of the crown, and then I want to see when that was created. So it is before birth. It is in the womb. And it's around 6 months in the womb. Okay, so we're going to utilize right now Metatron's cube with Metatronic Reiki, and we're going to start to heal and adjust from the womb and coming all the way and adjusting the inversion. Okay, so just breathe and open. If you have anything that you need to say, Sophie, just let us know if something's happening. But we're going to start to adjust that right now, okay?
Yes, thank you.
So just adjusting, I'm going to go ahead and just comment on what's happening now. So with this pull and with this inversion here in the celestial body that we're seeing at the crown chakra connection, there's a sense of, in order to stay connected to this earth. It's almost as if you promised yourself that you wouldn't fly away, that you wouldn't get lost in this whole, whatever spiritual realm, right? And so there is a strength with your masculine that is like, oh, no, I'm heavy. I'm here. I'm anchored. I'm not going to fly away like everybody else. And I feel that's from your father's line as well. A very logical, determined, structural, but it's going a little overboard. Okay, so we're just going to adjust that now. Sara, how are you doing?
Okay.
All right, beautiful. So that inversion is done. That is upright. That is beautiful. Now we're going to focus in on the womb and the genealogical. So just breathe and open. So Sara, we're going right into the womb, 6 months.
Got it.
And we're sending that back through the genealogical line. Good. Let everything assimilate now. Now the aura is about 6 feet around, very healthy. Okay, very healthy. You've got space up above, space below, and on either side. We're going to go ahead and disconnect, closing up, smoothing you out. And that is complete. Yay, thank you.
Wow, thank you.
I know, my eyes, right? Help it. Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Thank you. Let me come back. Let me come back. Okay. Do you want my comments? Do you want some
Yeah,
comments?
absolutely.
Wow. First of all, I want to say how very precious this is to me. Probably in many regards, but one that is so acute, I would say, is that I've been feeling for quite a while that with my mom that we need to resolve something that remained a mystery to me. So either that's part of it or that's it. So yeah, and I get chills in my skull. So that's probably it. And it feels like that this is something tremendous for me and for her and for, like, it feels really tremendous. So I want to thank you so much for that. I'm getting the sense right now that there's so much more to it that after our call today and probably the next few days, I'm gonna get more awareness of what let's say what the consequences are, what the benefits are of this clearing and shifting. So very much appreciate that, because it feels like a treasure, like there are treasures that treasures of wisdom and of awareness and of openingness that are coming to me. So thank you for that. And I definitely felt, and I still feel so much like my crown can breathe finally. It's
Absolutely.
like, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's something I've been relating quite for a while as well. Like, I don't know, I don't feel my crown. It's not the one chakra that I relate so much with. I believe I'm gonna be relating with it so much more. And already I feel like, whew, okay, now it feels light and I can breathe there.
Yes. Well, that was it. It was being brought down. It was being contracted and held. And then you had this kind of bulbous energy down here of the aura that was too heavy. So this is a lightening, but it's also a conscious act that your aura does for you every single day that adjusts to what you're going through, right? So in opening that up and allowing that that celestial knowledge, that celestial wisdom to come through, you're going to have indications now that are directives, how to be, how to hold yourself, how to channel, how to move, interpretations of your own intuition. Because we know you with the, special gift, I mean, clearing the karmic entanglements, that's huge. And you have to know that that ties into the karmic seed, right? So part of what I feel like is with you entering into this with us, it's upgrading your special gift assignment as well, because it's directly linked to being able to shift and adjust the karmic seed for yourself and for others. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So we'll see. To be continued, I guess we'll hear from it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Such a gift, such a privilege. Thank you so much to both of you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Mm.
It was my pleasure. I love being
Mine
here.
too.
And
Mm.
Sophie, you've just done so much for this community, Graceful Connections. I mean, it's so precious in the way that we can feel the genuine, authentic nature coming through, with you, with the whole structure though, and with the speakers that are on it. I love the pace of it. I love the rhythm of it. And just, just gratitude from my heart, gratitude to your heart. Thank you so much for letting us come and share and for really launching this, because this has been coming for quite a long time. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that you've set this up for us and that we have this opportunity to shine our light and to share our wisdom. So meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome home, Christel. Yes, this is your home. And welcome back, Sara. I mean,
Thank you.
hearing about the seed that was planted back then, right, in our first graceful connection, and here we are today. This is very impressive, I would say, the way the divine is weaving all this, and we just have to follow. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Aw, thank
Thank
you.
you, Sophie. We love you, Sophie.
Oh, and I love you, and I love being with you and with everyone. Being in the orb of grace, it's so cozy. I mean,
It is.
where
Yes.
else do we want to be, right? Where else do we want to be? And let's take a moment, actually. Let's take a moment before we close with gratitude. Let's take a moment to be present once again, consciously, to the orb of grace, in the orb of grace. Holding us, holding all that we have received, experienced, discovered, all that we're not even yet aware that we have received, allowing it to sink in, allowing it to come to our awareness. As we are held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now with gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your soul for elevation. Yes. Gratitude to you, wonderful Christel Hughes and Sara Cornell, for all the wisdom, the brilliance, all the offerings that you have gifted us today through all the graceful connections that have been woven with you and your masterful expertise. Thank you so much. And actually, double gratitude to you, Christel, and the Academy for the Soul for offering this platform in which graceful connections grow and expand, impacting our lives, our environment, and the world at large, creating heaven on earth.
Yes, absolutely.
We are doing it, right?
Woo! Heaven on earth, as above, so below.
That's
It's
how we
right
do it.
here, as above,
Mhm.
so below. Metatron's cube makes that happen. And I want to just say thank you to Carrie as well for
Yes.
supporting us
Yes.
in this. Carrie, we love you. We send you so much gratitude from our hearts. Thank you so much for your
Mhm.
effortless expression of love that you
Yeah.
have.
Mm.
And it is so meaningful. It touches me every single day. And I'm just so very grateful to have you working right next to me. So blessings, Carrie.
Mm. Thank
Mm,
you.
yes.
Yes.
We love you, Carrie. We could not do
We
this
love you
without you.
too. Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm,
Yes. Thank you, Carrie. Mm. And gratitude, yes, to the orb of grace, providing a safe, sacred space for this journey of exploration. Gratitude for all the grace that we are blessed with at every moment, whether we are aware of it or not. It offers all the nourishment, the healing, the revelations, the realizations that we open our hearts to receive. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
thank
Until
you.
we meet again, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Christel. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, Carrie. Many blessings, graceful blessings to you all, and goodbye now.
Bye.